Welcome everyone back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe. We're here to talk about the 50-point win that Carlton did against many people select to win this 13-game win streak, Port Adelaide, in which was really probably the most complete performance we've seen, definitely under Michael Voss, maybe in the last decade from the Blues. It was a real comprehensive job with, I would say, 6 weeks ago, you would have actually said it was impossible for us to produce that football. It was not only impressive defensively, which we know the Blues are one of the best sides in the comp defensively, currently ranked 5th with only 20% of inside 50s yielding scores a goal from the opposition. But the Blues were not only at their intercepts and defensive best, but they were also at their best offensively, piling on the scores, scoring in the end 18-14. And it was really more of the same of what we've seen, particularly in the last 4 rounds. It was the boys looking to run. The overlap run of these boys shouldn't be understated. They have gone real hard in these games, and they've looked to take the game on at all opportunities. What is really impressive when I am watching the Blues at the moment is their togetherness, their freedom. They're looking like a team that is playing with not only love for each other, but love for what they do. And 55% suddenly of goal-kicking accuracy when we were seeing 30s and things like that. And coming into this game, it was one of them ones that you just didn't know, did you? And there was a few performances in this game that we've got to look at and go, wow. One of them we're going to take a look at is Jacob Weitering. The 10 disposals, the 8 contested possessions, the 6 intercept marks, 4 of which were just normal marks, 3 intercept marks, 4 ground ball gets, just the 1 score launch, the 137 meters gain. But this guy was just dominant, and he's case in point of really trying to get that ball moving short and sharp from the back half of the ground and getting it into the mids and getting it into the forward part of the territory. He is really understated, and his defensive brilliance has been absolutely incredible over the last few rounds, where many people had kind of, I wouldn't say fallen off him, but they definitely got to the stage where I think that people were just not really believing in him, which is fair enough at times. You've got to look at that sometimes and go, okay, you've got to cop it sometimes at this level. You've got to. Another guy that we're going to take a look at, who I thought was impressive from start to finish, and probably has a shout at being maybe best on, you could argue, and that is Mr. Nick Newman, who in this game here has just become Mr. Reliable, hasn't he, in the last couple of weeks? And you like the way that he plays with fire, and we like the way that he takes the game on, but he was just at his imposing best, especially when the ball hit the deck, but also his assuredness with the ball in hand. He was looking to get the game going, but also trying to add some injection. There was that wonderful sidestep that he did, and then he brought it down the wing, which set up Carlton's goal. His ability at the score launch was just really strong, but also the 9 tackles as well from him. He really looked to get them going at every opportunity. The 3 score launches, which is elite in his position. He took the goal well, 9 score involvements, which is phenomenal. And these are the kind of things that we've got to look at. Chincotta really helped out as well. The 9 ground ball gets. On the deck, he looked to stop them tougher players, particularly when Rosie floated there. He did an excellent job at being the first to get there. J Sauce and TDK, that ruck combination was fantastic, and Sauce took his goals incredibly well. Took 4 goals. 1 was probably, for most of the part, real standout. 11 score involvements is insane, but he wasn't shy in his defensive duties either. 4 tackles, insane. His pressure acts were really, really solid as well. 16 coming from the ruck, which makes it hard and makes it tough. And what is really impressing me at the moment when we're looking at these boys is their ability just to really take the game on and know the moments that they're in. Know their moments that they're in. They're not afraid to take that game on and really have a crack. And that was personified by someone as easy, I think, and probably often forgotten from the Blues, in Blake Acres. Just the 7 pressure acts from a defensive standpoint, right? But his possessions were just insane. And his 7 intercept possessions, and the way that he intercepted Dan Houston twice, who had a lot of the ball but didn't do anything with it, I thought was really impressive. And also his hard running patterns and his ability to really take the game on, get in the zone, and getting them pockets of space. And that's something that all the boys are doing. If you watch them, that they're running hard off the ball, but they're trying to get into active zones to interfere with play. And as soon as they wrestle the ball back, it strobes forward. It strobes forward. And you can see why there was such a key impetus, I think, at the start of the year on having that defensive, real rigid game plan. Because now that the offensive running started, the anticipation running as well, and the high IQ running. And what I mean by that is when the ball is won, watch the players run by the ball carrier and go ahead of him and work hard for it. And a guy that was selfless today was Charlie Curnow. His ability to bring the ball down to ground. And we're going to talk more why that's so poignant. But it's his intelligence, his a maturity we've seen in the last couple of months has been way beyond his years. And it's one of them things where you know him as a goal scorer. And I've been saying this for ages. I think he is a better player than Jeremy Cameron. And people might disagree with me. That's okay. 3 goals, 3 behinds. The 12 score involvements, the bringing the ball to ground is insane for me. It really is insane. And he was a real standard setter that a lot of the times he's gone up and made the dummy lead as well for Martin. Made the dummy lead for a few other players. Jesse Motlop and Silvani surged off that type of ball movement from him. And that is really important for this club moving forward. Moving forward, you've got to be selfless. And the final guy we're going to talk about just in depth as his highlights role, Mitch McGovern. Getting very, very dangerous. Because he was injured last week. It is insane. But his score launches of 2, which is very good. His ability to really attack the ball. And he didn't give his opposition any chance. Only Blake Acres and Brodie Kemp had more intercept marks than him. He had 3. His ability, though, defensively was so strong this week. So strong. He looked to really take the game on. He looked to body players on the ground. He won every one of his one-on-ones this week as well. So did Jacob Whelan. Brodie Kemp did get battered a little bit in them one-on-ones, especially when he was on Todd Marshall. But that's a good positive because Todd Marshall's a different kettle of fish. I really like how that backline moves. I really like how important Mitch McGovern is, the way that he floats off and peels off his man. Let's look at some other things, though, because a lot of people are asking what's the difference. Now, let's look over them dark times, right? Carlton averaged 15.3 inside 50s. They've now increased that by 13% to 57.8. Now, I want you to keep that stat in mind because we're going to look at something a bit later. But the marks inside 50, 5 more, getting them a lot deeper, and we're going to discuss that at length. Converting 50.6%, an increase of 23.5% of scores from inside 50 entries. And that's coming from that dynamic running that we're talking about, that high IQ running, that's changing the angles. They're looking for switches. You see it quite a bit. Jack Martin did that lovely passage of play out wide, bobbed it in. It changes the angles. It makes it a lot easier to hit targets when you've got a full 360 of inside 50s to hit. 29% from 14.6. That's a 50% rise in goals from their inside 50s. They're generating more shots, a 25% rise. They're generating 50% more points. This is impressive. The shot accuracy, 60% from 30%. That is a huge, 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 huge increase, that is. 33.8 to 57. Mental, 40.7. Pressure acts, up 5%. Tackles, up just short of 30%. Tackles inside 50, nearly 40%. And this is the big one for me. The meters gained, and a lot of that, we've had a decrease of almost 40% in Carlton's kicking for distance, kicking for territory, and a massive increase in its running capabilities from its run and stun. And what that does is when you run together, you are in position. It's highly dangerous, though, and you see the Blues get caught out. They got caught out a few times from the opposition this week against Port and last week, but they stick to the task at hand. Then late second quarter, early third, we got caught out of position by committing too many men forward or our willingness to keep the ball in motion. But that is good, because if you're going to die by your sword, you've got to make sure that sword is being swung quite hard. And that is what the boys are doing. Now, let's take a look at this map, right? We were talking about round 8 to round 13. This is the blue is what them the hot zones for entries inside 50. You look at the yellows in the last 4 rounds. They're deeper. They're easier. When you get to where that red line there, I want you to think that that is where it massively increases in the chances of hitting goals, right? And there's no surprise that Jesse Motlop had a great game. Now, if you went and watched the Monday show a couple of weeks ago, I said about Jesse Motlop, I'm excited about seeing him come in with Fogarty there, because that tackle pressure means all Motlop's got to do is stay around the ball and be deadly. And that's what he did. He peeled off. But that intelligent running, right, when you're in them zones there, if you can get the ball there, that's where the crummers are. It's a common misconception our crummers are shit, because there's not much they can do to crumb when it's my side of the line, your defense side of that red line, because that's a long way to kick it in a snap. When it's there, that's deadly. And you saw it with Cottrell's intelligent running for his goal. Sauce, brilliant read off the pack. When it's coming in 1-outs and you've got 2-on-2s, that is where the crummers are going to hurt you. Huge improvement and a deeper entry. All in all, this is the most proud I have been of this football team in a long time. In a long time. Carlton's ability to outscore their opposition by 29 points from defensive half possession chains, a massive increase of where we were. A massive increase of where we were. And shout out to Patrick Cripps as well, who I think is really becoming a leader, a massive evolution in his leadership in the last 4 weeks because of how hard he's worked. I am super proud of these boys, and I implore you all to enjoy this. Whether you've got off the horse, got on the horse, always been on the horse, you bought the horse, you sold the horse, and you've got a new horse. Enjoy it, because this togetherness and this good vibes needs to continue. Because I am telling you now, I said it on the Faz and Pom show round 4, lock it in, we're playing finals. And then I said it round 8, we're playing finals. Start dealing with it. This is a side that is here to play, and they are playing for each other. And when I say each other, they're playing for the entire Carlton community with dare, endeavour, and no false bravado. And I am so incredibly proud of these boys. Eagles this week coming up, and then the big one against the Pies. And you know what? If they knock them off, dare I say it, Carlton will play a grand final this year. That is how confident I am. That it's infectious. Negativity is infectious, so is positivity. And let's ride this wave. So proud of the boys. They've worked incredibly hard. This is a good game style. It's quick, it's fast, it's brave, and it's intense. So proud of them. Look after yourselves. Enjoy your week. Pom out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh